Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Nneka A, and we are here today for a review. I told you that if y'all hear any noise in the background, it's my dog. Please excuse her. She's rude and disrespectful. But we are here today for the review of the reunion for Real Housewives of Potomac parts 1 through 3. Now the way I'm gonna do this, I'm just gonna go through each housewife and read them, and if I forgot anything about anybody, you can let me know in the comments below. Before we get started, please go ahead and like the video, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more. So we're gonna go ahead and get right on into it. First of all 3 parts were trifling.
A little bit ghetto to me. A little bit ghetto, you know, a little bit hood.
And we know what it was. We're gonna get to that in a minute, but I want to say right here, right now, at the beginning of this video, I am very much done with Real Housewives of Potomac. I will no longer be watching. I won't even be watching clips. So do not expect any reviews from me. If I do anything Real Housewives of Potomac related, it will be like if there's any tea that drops or anything like that, I will come and update on the channel. But as far as for the show in of itself, absolutely not. If any of them besides Wendy and Candiace are doing like any interviews or any, you know, syndicated shows or anything like that, you know, I might review that. But if it's Giselle, Robyn, whoever, anybody besides those two, not even caring. Not even caring.
No, like hardcore. I'm not playing that game.
I'm not doing it. So that's where I'm at with it. But we're gonna go ahead and get into this review, and I'm not going in any order. So part 1, part 2, part 3. I am just as a culmination going through each housewife and addressing the things from each part of the reunion. So we're gonna start with Ashley, Miss Darby. So I don't know if I believe the whole dealing with the narcissism thing. I'm 50-50 with that, because I am going through my own situation with divorce, and it has taken me a while to file. And the reason being is because I am dealing with someone who is a narcissist and might be dealing with a few other things as well. And I know how much of a turn things are going to take once I officially file. So part of me understands that as far as for what Ashley was talking about, but at the same time, Ashley be lying, you know. So, but at the same time, you know, we do see that he's not allowing her to film him. He doesn't want her to film with the kids, things of that nature. So we do see a bit of that controlling aspect when it comes to anything that Ashley is doing with her life that's separate from him. So there may be some truth to it, but at the same time, y'all, I don't know. She said she's trying to get a sizable amount.
I would like to see it.
I highly doubt that she's going to get a sizable amount of money from Michael Darby. She's going to get what she's already getting, which is child support and maybe access to some things to take care of them. I doubt she's going to walk away with some millions. Y'all let me know if y'all think she's going to walk away with a substantial amount. I don't see it. The Osu drama. So she shouldn't have brought it up. And I like the way Wendy checked her. Like, no. Since Ashley brought it to the show, Ashley, what is Osu?
I love it. I love it.
And she tried to backpedal and coochie pop. And it's like, no, you should not have. Listen, I will not die on the sword for anything that followed. No, that's all you. Because none of that would have happened if you had never brought it to the show. You had no room or right to be speaking about something that you did not understand culturally, and something that belonged to a culture that you were not a part of. It ain't even trying to be a part of, but we're not even gonna listen. We're not gonna get into that. Let's see, the fight. Ashley said that she knew Deborah wanted a moment with Candiace, so she should not have invited her. You knew that she wanted a moment with Candiace. You knew Candiace did not want a moment with her. So why would you bring someone to the event that You knew wanting a moment with somebody that didn't want a moment with them.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand.
That makes no sense to me. Everything about this fight is Ashley's fault. You had no business bringing her. You had no business bringing her. And the fact that you did, that's all on Ashley. And that's period. That's period. This was a work event on top of that. So this being a work event, this being a somewhat professional event to promote your business, this wasn't the time for a conversation. This wasn't a time to confront someone about whatever it is that they feel like they may have been feeling. This wasn't the time for that. And if you had respect for your business and for your brand, you wouldn't have invited her. So as much as Giselle wants to be like, to have your business being associated with the brawl, that's on Ashley. Ashley didn't have enough respect for GNA to make sure that she did not invite any type of friction into that atmosphere at all. And that's how I know that Ashley was up to some games. She was up to some FS, and inviting her, she knew what she was doing, and it was a setup from the jump. But we're going to jump up off of Ashley, and we're going to get into Mia. Mia be lying, okay? Mia lies. Mia has been lying from day one. I think enough YouTubers have gone through the amount of lying that she has done, so we don't need to recap that here. But Mia be lying. But one of the lies that I will go into, and a theory that I have, she has been with Ink this whole time. And I feel like Gordon is just mad that I feel like Gordon was at a place where he felt like she gonna go do a little yang around Ink, every now and then when she get that itch or whatever, because I can't do, I feel like he got to a place where he accepted it. But then when Mia got to a place where she was like, I'm leaving you for him, I'm about to be with him, then, she wasn't keeping it private anymore. Now she's posting it up on the gram. She's publicizing the, relationship and things of that nature. That's what made Gordon mad. But I do believe that Mia has been with Ink from the outset. I feel like there was a plan allegedly between Mia and Ink, that she would go and get the bag from Gordon and secure the bag, do whatever she needed to do on that end, and he would go and handle himself on his end. She would get a divorce, and they would come back and be together officially at a later time. I feel like that was always the plan, and now Gordon ain't got no money because she spent it out. I feel like some of the money that she did have, and that's probably, let's be really, really real, like, yes, controlling the money and emptying out somebody's bank accounts, yes, that can definitely be considered financial abuse. We're not gonna act like me and one sitting up here sending Ink Gordon's money. That's why he shut them bank accounts down. That's why she went in them bank accounts and them mugs was set to zero. Okay, because of where the money was going. Okay, you not about to be giving him my money. Okay, you not no. No. Okay, so moving into that, as far as with the bipolar, I don't know how sure I am that I believe that. Someone had made a good point in a comment saying that if you are bipolar, any purchases that have been made with a credit card, you can apply to get those purchases refunded if those purchases were made through, a manic phase. So, that could be something that they could be trying to utilize allegedly. I don't know, but it definitely sounds like the setup for the storyline for season 9. I won't know because I won't be there, but that is what it is giving. And they are definitely revving Mia up to be the new Giselle. I feel like everybody got a talking to, maybe except Giselle, maybe except Robyn, I don't know. But I feel like Mia was told, even if Mia wasn't spoken to by production, I feel like she was spoken to by Giselle, because we know Giselle never speaks up for herself. She has to have a spokesperson. So I feel like Giselle told Mia, like, you need to speak up for me. You need to be grilling Candiace. You need to be, because she did a lot of that. A lot of interrupting, a lot of over talking her. And I just did not like that. I also felt like Mia had a lot of nerve to say that Candiace has too much to lose girls and that she shouldn't have given Deborah a moment, and that's why she threw the drink. Now, the thing about it is, I understood where Mia was trying to come from, but I felt like it was the right message, wrong messenger. Because Mia, ma'am, you are the one. Miss CEO. You're Miss CEO. And you let yourself be escalated by Wendy's words, which actually came out to be true because you were sleeping around with other men, but we gonna leave that where that is. To the point where you threw a drink on her, and then you got escalated again when you hit her with her clutch. So why is it giving that nobody else has to have self-control except Candiace? Man, you have a lot of nerve, gall, gumption, and audacity to speak of self-control when you assaulted one woman not once but twice. Off of some that you started. You have a lot of nerve. And honestly, Mia, you better be glad it wasn't me, because if that was me and you hit me with it and that's why she threw the drink, I would have said, and that's why your mama was low budget.
No. What? No.
Because you can't sit up here and say things to people and not expect them to respond to you. It's gonna get, you come at me, it's gonna give what it gave. And I already spoke on how I felt about that whole dynamic of things in my previous video. Please go watch that if you want to hear my thoughts. I don't rock with Mia. I feel like Mia is fake. Mia is extremely biased. And I do feel like there was a conversation, whether it was from production or from Giselle, to like hold her accountable. Like, we giving you this first chair and you need to, as first chair, you need to hold her accountable. Because we know Giselle's not going to really do it, because Giselle can't, because she's not a converser like that. She doesn't know how to converse. Doesn't know how to have dialogue with people. So, but Mia does. So I feel like Mia was enlisted with a responsibility that Giselle doesn't know how to handle. So those are my thoughts on Mia. We're going to move on to Miss Wendy. Wendy clocked in. Wendy was ready to go. And I was here for it. The first thing being the colorism conversation. I love how she clocked. And Wendy did what I do when talking about colorism, which is I compare it to racism. Because people tend to understand the prejudice and the bias and all of that when it comes to racism. But when it comes to colorism, it's like they become colorblind. Like they can't see it. So I love that she compared it to that and said, you know, when it's the same as if someone is being accused of being racist and they say, oh my gosh, I'm so hurt. I can't believe I'm being accused of this. I feel so hurt by this. And the conversation becomes about why they feel hurt about being accused of being a racist and not what's going on in order for them to be accused of being a racist. And in the same way, that's what's happening when it comes to colorism, when Robyn wanted to have, you know, the white lady tears and all of that, and she called it out and it was beautiful. And then when Karen wanted to be like, there isn't anybody else that can have the conversation of colorism besides the ladies of this cast, and Wendy got her right together and said, no, because you and I both know in order to have a conversation about colorism, you have to have the range, and we both know that not everybody sitting on this cast has the range to speak about it, and that's on period. I was here for Wendy with that because they don't, and we saw that last season at the reunion, because we saw how Karen herself was trying to backpedal and coochie pop around the colorism conversation that they tried to have at that time. So no ma'am. Then the conversation, the Osu conversation, the way she shut that down, I loved when, again, as I alluded to previously when talking about Ashley, when Wendy was like, no, since Ashley knows so much about Osu and she brought it to the forefront, what is Osu? And then when Nneka tried to speak up, she said, no.
But all I'm saying, they're gonna get a. I'm just.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
Ashley, of course, tried to backpedal and coochie pop as well over that subject. And I'm going to go back to Ashley real quick. And there's probably going to be some overlapping of some things, obviously, because everybody is intertwined. So forgive me on that. But like I said before, you had no right. You had no right to discuss that. And I like how Wendy handled that. Wendy meant business on that because it is extremely destructive culturally. You cannot do that. And y'all wanted to pit these two women against each other, and you were successful at doing that. You put the bugs in their ear and let it do what it was going to do. So to try to say, oh, I'm not going to be responsible for anything that ensued, no ma'am. No, man. And Wendy clocked it. The other thing that I was thinking on when it came to Wendy is I think Wendy kind of knows that she's next. And I feel like that's why she was not as assertive as she normally is, even though Wendy always kind of keeps it mid-tempo. Like, she speaks up when she needs to and puts her foot down when necessary, but she's never as rah-rah, ta-ta-ta as Candiace. But I feel like it was a little bit more, everything she did was more to the point than what it normally is. And I feel like Wendy knows that she's next. I feel like she was kind of like sending the message like I'm not to be played with. Like, y'all can come for me if you want to, but I'm ready. You know, it's what it was giving for me. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I would have liked to see a little bit more support for Candiace from Wendy, but I think Wendy knew that Candiace had been spoken to, and I feel like she was, because Candiace and Wendy are friends. So I'm sure Candiace probably told her, like, girl, I just got this phone call. Guess what just happened? And I feel like Wendy was trying to keep her on the path of, you know what you came here to do. And I think Wendy also knew what was going on with Candiace, which will be spoken about in another video. But I think Wendy knew, you know, more personal information having to deal with Candiace. And I feel like she was just trying to keep her on track and didn't want her to overwhelm herself and go to rat-ta-ta-ta and put her in a situation that wasn't healthy. And we'll just keep it at that. And then when it comes to her knowing Nneka, she didn't know Nneka.
I don't know her. Right. Like, what am I supposed to say? Like,
okay, she knew who Nneka, whatever. She knew who she was. Like, some of y'all are starting to get into my channel and things of that nature, and y'all know of me. Y'all know I have a channel, but y'all don't know me. You know what I'm saying? Like, for Nneka to come in here and exaggerate her proximity to Wendy in order to get on the show, and honestly, and that's why Wendy didn't want to have any dealings with her, because you already coming in fake, you already coming in fraud. Now you got an attitude because I didn't want you to come in off of my back. Now you coming in all extra and rat-ta-ta and doing all of the things that you don't really need to be doing. And that's why, like, Wendy understands a loose cannon. Wendy knows a loose cannon when she sees it, and Nneka is a loose cannon, and Wendy didn't want to have anything to do with her, and I'm not mad at her for that. We're going to move on to Robyn. Just like Candace said, fraud. She's a fraud.
You full of That's what you are. You full of
Robyn also has the most gumption, gall, audacity, and nerve to think that she can question anyone's husband, even questioning Ashley about Michael. As much as I don't care for Ashley or Michael, I really feel like when it came to other people's husbands, unless you wanted to ask about Jamal, or I forget the baby's name that Giselle was fake dating for the show, or him, you don't really need to be questioning anybody's husband, because yours is not. Wendy Dixon is not here right now, so you should not be questioning anybody's husband. Miss Ma'am, what you mean? Especially when all you're thinking about is protecting your own, but you think you get to question somebody else's. No ma'am. No ma'am. She would have had to have kept her mouth up off my husband. And that's even if I was Ashley. She would have had to have kept her mouth up off my husband. I would have answered no husband questions from Robyn. Somebody else would have had to ask them for her, because I wouldn't have answered nothing from Robyn. I will say this though, that Chris, I'm glad that Chris gave her nothing. I was here for that. He gave her the same answer. I don't know that lady. I don't know that lady. I don't know anything about any text messages. I don't know anything about any screenshots. I don't know that lady. And I was here for that. I was here for that because she wanted a moment. She wanted the moment that he gave to Giselle last reunion.
What did I do? I've suffered through this for 10 months, losing clients, losing money, answering to my family.
She wanted that. That's what Robyn wanted. She wanted that, and she didn't get it. And she was salty. You can tell the look on her face, like she was disappointed, like, oh, okay. I'm gonna go back to rubbing on Giselle's coochie. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, don't even worry about me. I was here for that. It was everything. I don't like that Robyn lied about the timeline of the conversation between she and Candiace. And then when Candiace brought out the timeline as far as for Candiace reaching out to her after season 7 reunion and making a comment about her hair, and then Robyn saying, oh, well, I guess it makes me look too white adjacent. I guess that can't be a good thing. And then Candiace saying, are you mad? Because literally had everybody the whole season like, why wouldn't she be mad at you? You dragging her for filth on social media, and it had nothing to do with that. So you ghost this lady, and then she tries to, reach out to you when things happen with Juan. You continue to ghost her. Then you want to go on your podcast and have all of these things to say. Yeah, she's gonna go on social media and go on a rampage because you did her dirty.
You wanted smoke, so here.
So why would how can you expect her not to react to someone who she considered to be a close friend? And I'm going to also say this as well. I've said this under a few comments, but I want to say it in video form as well. I definitely believe that Candace and Robyn had a close friendship. I do believe that there were scenes filmed. I believe that Giselle would not let them come to light. I do believe that. I do believe that Giselle would not let those scenes come to light because Robyn is Giselle's friend and only Giselle's friend. And wholly Giselle's friend. So we're not showing none of that on air. So that's why when Candiace talks about this friendship that she has with Robyn, we like, I ain't never had no friends. We ain't never see y'all hanging out. Yeah, because Giselle wasn't going to let that be seen. But back to what I was saying, you have this person that you consider to be a close friend is now ghosting you and doing all of these things. Yeah, she's going to react. Period. So I felt like Robyn was really, really fake for that. And then Robyn trying to deflect with the white lady tears. Like, ma'am, not buying it. And I'm proud of Candiace for not buying it because she was trying, I don't know if y'all noticed or if y'all peep gang, but she was trying, because we all know Candiace is emotional, and she may or may not have known, what was going on with Candiace to make her even more emotional than what she already was. She was trying to make that girl react. She was trying to make Candiace get in her feelings. And Candiace is also a sympathetic crier. She's like, so Robyn was like, let me go ahead and get some tears going so I can get her crying, and then she'll just apologize. Like, no. And Candiace didn't fall for it, and I was here for that. I was so proud. And then gathered her on top of that. I was here for it. And then Wendy jumped in, and that was a great moment for them in the reunion. The last thing I want to talk about with Robyn is with Robyn saying that how hard it was for her to the whole colorist conversation and to be accused of being a colorist. First of all, you're full of crap because you've talked about colorism since day one, episode 1, season 1 of this show. You are the one that asked Katie Ross what box her children are going to check. Candiace never accused you of being a colorist. The people accused you of being a colorist, okay? You and Giselle. Candiace never accused you of being a colorist. And I know a lot of people get upset about that because they're like, how can you support the conversation of them being colorists, but when it comes time for you to be asked if you think that they are colorist, you say no. Well, you have to understand that she works with these people, and if we're going to compare it to racism, if you ever worked in an environment that is predominantly white, you can't just go out, especially when it's subtle, like you're not walking into the workplace and it's nooses hanging everywhere and they just, out and about calling you the N-word and what the hard R and stuff like that. You can't just, like, if they're just treating you unfairly and you're being treated unfairly based on your skin color, you still can't just come out and just start calling people racist. Like, you just, that doesn't work. And it's the same with colorism, you know what I'm saying? Unless they call him, Candiace is getting called darky and, burnt and, all different types of names that are derogatory and are associated with being dark skinned and things of that nature. She can't just go around calling people colorists in her workplace. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work like that. She can't do that. She literally can't do that. But we'll go ahead and we'll get into Miss Nneka.
I don't feel no ways.
All I can do on her is yawn on Nneka because she didn't bring anything. She was boring. She was a yawn. And that's why we have the news that we have with her, which again is going to be a whole different video. But she didn't bring anything. Her whole storyline was Wendy, and Wendy wasn't going. And I'm not mad at Wendy for that, because you need to be able to come in and have a storyline that's independent of the other wives that are on the show. We didn't see nothing going on with her business. We barely saw what was going on with her trying to have this baby. Everything was Wendy, Wendy's mama, Nneka Ihim. And who are you? We know who Wendy is, girl. Who are you? We got nothing, okay? Also, did y'all peep how Nneka tried to sound like Wendy during the Osu conversation? Like, I don't think anybody on here really has some range to talk about. And they don't. But I just feel like if Wendy had not have said that about the colorism conversation, I don't feel like Nneka would have used those words. She definitely was trying to mimic and be like Wendy. Like, girl, you want to be Wendy so bad. Like, I feel like Nneka is to Wendy as Ashley is to Candace. Like, Nneka wants to be Wendy. And we already know Ashley wants to be Candace. Like, it's giving single white female. Anyways, we move on. Nneka needs to be accountable for how she came in calling Wendy's mom a witch. And she tried to say, I have apologized to you for the things that Andy has mentioned. No, you have not. You have not out and out. Because people wanted to say, like, toward the end, that Wendy never directly apologized for the crackhead comment and all of that stuff. But Nneka never directly apologized for calling Wendy's mom evil and saying she's a witch or anything along those nature. Because anytime Wendy was like, can you apologize for that? But your mom did say that. My cousin told me that your mom did say that. So, and that's why in the scene, Wendy was like, you don't want peace. You don't want peace. Now, the one thing that I do agree with Nneka about is when she said that Wendy had more smoke for Ashley than she did for Nneka with the Osu situation. And I do agree she did. But I think I understand why. And the reason being is because, looking at it from Wendy's point of view, Wendy and Nneka are Nigerian. They are Igbo. They are supposed to be sisters. So I'm going to hold my sister more accountable because you're supposed to have my back. You're supposed to be coming in here having my back. And you did not. I expect Ashley to be a POS. I expect Ashley to be sneaky and conniving. But you're supposed to be my Niger sister. We're supposed to be sister. We're supposed to be family. And you came in here backstabbing day one. You should have shut the Igbo stuff down. Like I was trying to shut the Igbo stuff down and everything else. You shouldn't have come in here calling my mom evil. You know what that does. You know what that is. You are the culture. And not only did you disrespect me, you disrespected your own culture. That is more egregious than what Ashley did to Wendy in her eye. And I get that. And I understand that. 100,000% I understand that, and I believe that is why Wendy had more smoke for Nneka than she did Ashley, because Nneka had more responsibility as a Nigerian woman, as an Igbo woman. Nneka had more responsibility to the culture to hold it down than anything that Ashley would ever have. Nneka is extremely mean to Ike, and if Nneka was going to be on the show next season, they definitely was going to come for her on that. Because you let all of that be displayed on camera so that they can use it against you. So you should actually, if you're trying to keep your marriage together, you should actually be glad that things are working out the way that they are. Because, girl, they was gonna come. Nneka, they was gonna come for your Nneka. Okay. I do wish her well on her IVF journey. Okay. I do hope that, you know, she's able to get pregnant and start her family and things of that nature. I would never wish the opposite of that, you know, for any woman. I want her to be able to, you know, but girl, you can't be taking, you know, your meds with champagne. Okay, you got to do some things a little bit different if you're really serious about trying to have a child. I wish we could have gotten more into that in the reunion. I feel like those are the questions that should have been asked, but they don't really care about Nneka, as we see. Next, we're gonna move into Miss Karen.
I'm excited to see her. Not really.
Karen be lying, and she definitely rides the fence. And the thing about it is, there's nothing wrong with riding the fence. There's nothing wrong with being neutral. There's nothing wrong with wanting to understand where everyone is coming from. But there's also times to be neutral, and there's times to stand for something. And if she is the grande dame, then she's going to have to stand for something. There are times when, like I said, there's times to be neutral, and there's times when there's a right and when there's a wrong. And in this situation, especially when it comes to Candiace and Giselle, you cannot ride the middle. There is a right and there is a wrong. And you know Giselle is wrong. But Karen is not ever going to come out of her mouth and be like, the way you treat her is wrong. The way you do her is wrong. When you did XYZ is wrong. All she's going to do is say, I'm not responsible for them. I'm not responsible for you. Don't put me in that. But I feel like with certain things, you have to take a stand. And I feel like this is one of those moments where you have to take a stand. You either have to be on the right side or you have to be on the wrong side. You cannot just coast in the middle in this situation. Because please believe, season 9, the whole DUI situation, people are going to take a stand on what side they're on. Ain't going to be nobody coasting down the middle with her. That's if, you know, Giselle might, because Giselle going to need a friend, so she might let Karen slide because, you know, some other things that's going on in RHOP news. But Giselle is definitely going to need a friend season 9. So I don't know. She might let Karen slide. I won't know because I won't be there. But Karen, the other thing that I noticed about Karen is during filming, she'll pretend to hold people accountable. And then when we get to the reunion, she backtracks. Case in point with Ashley, you had your foot on Ashley's neck the season finale. You had your foot on her neck. You were holding her accountable. You said it was Ashley's fault. We get to the reunion. Well, Candiace, can you tell me again what happened? Why did you call her a varmint? Like was it out of nowhere or did like something happen? Why does it matter, Karen? I thought we were team. This is Ashley's fault. Here you go wanting to coast the middle again, and you can't do that.
You take that elsewhere. Don't bring that here.
You can't sit up here and want to be the grande dame and want to put your foot on her neck at the season finale, but then you want to turn around and put it back on Candiace after the reunion, probably because Giselle got in your ass. That's what it's giving to me. Giselle got on the line and was like, I don't like how you talked to Ashley. I don't think that was fair. I think it was Candiace, and you need to be giving more accountability to Candiace because of her mouth and yada, 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 yada. And you got to that reunion and you fought and you played your part. I peep game. You ain't getting nothing past me.
Busted.com.
The part where she says words do have meaning, but don't sit there and act like, and I do agree with that, words do have meaning. We do have to watch what we say, so on and so forth. But don't sit there and act like Giselle wasn't insinuating something inappropriate. We're not going to sit here and be like, oh, I think it's too far to say sexual assault. We know what she was insinuating. The thing about Giselle is smart when it's necessary because she knew not to put everything all together. She spaced things out. So when she first said it, he was a sneaky link. He was trying to see if I was with it. Then when she talked to Candiace, it was, no, he didn't do anything. He didn't say anything. I just was uncomfortable. Then when she talked about it again, I didn't like the optics. You know, I don't want to be in a room with a married man. I've been married to a cheater before. I know what that looks like. I don't want to be anywhere around any type of insinuations of cheating. Then it was something else. Then it was he grabbed somebody on their butt and was propositioning them at the bar. Then it was something else. And then when we get to season 8, it was he made me go into a room and close the door. If we put all of those things, and Karen, you're not stupid. If we put all of those things together, we get an insinuation of sexual assault. Don't play like that.
You are very old and you need to play your age and not 12. You're an old lady.
Nobody was out here trying to be insensitive to SA survivors. Nobody was trying to be insensitive, but at the same time, though, it's insensitive to an SA survivor to accuse or insinuate that was done when it wasn't. It's insensitive to play around with that when that wasn't what happened, when you have people that are out here have actually been through that. I actually have been forced into a room and had the door locked. So I was extremely offended by Giselle's extremely poor choice of words. I just want Karen to step her coochie up. Like, if you the grand dame, be the grand dame. If you all that and nobody can touch you and you that girl and so on and so forth, I need you to be that. And you're not being that. You're trying to play it safe. You are trying to be under the radar, but Karen, we see you. Also, you can't be friends with everybody. And being a good friend means holding your friend accountable when they need to be held accountable. Trying to let people slide because you don't want to be on their bad side, that's not being a good friend, that's being a yes man. And I'll never do that for a friend. I don't care about being on your good side. If I feel like you messing up, I'm going to let you know you messed up. If I feel like you wrong, I'm going to let you know you wrong. And if you don't like to hear that, then you don't want me as a friend. And that's on period. We going to move on to Miss Candace.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
First things first, this was an ambush. This was definitely an ambush to force Candace into submission. And I'm gonna get into why at the end of this video. This video is probably gonna end up being 2 parts because we still have Candace, and then I want to get into Giselle, and then we have production and Andy. So we still have three more sections to talk about. So this may end up going to a part 2 because I don't want this to be too long, but we're gonna finish up on Candace. But this was, you're gonna have to kiss some butt. You hurt Giselle's feelings, and you're gonna have to make her feel better because she's upset. Yeah, no, I know, but she's upset, so you're gonna have to make her feel better. That's what this was. Candace definitely held back a lot. We now know why. Candace was definitely overly emotional. We now know why. But even besides that, Candace is allowed to cry. She's allowed to be emotional, especially, and I have been saying this, but like she said in the reunion, she is by herself. And I've been saying this, if y'all see any comments in the comment section under your faves in regards to Candace, I have said multiple times, Candace is out here fighting a battle by herself. She has no support. Nobody backs her. She's by herself. Candace is by herself. So when you are literally fighting tooth and nail to be heard and to be validated by yourself, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. And when you have to keep explaining yourself and keep explaining yourself and keep explaining yourself, it's overwhelming. And then on top of everything else that she has going on with her physically, yeah, Candace is gonna be crying. Candace does not start things, and that is on Real Housewives girl trip, where it was Portia and Giselle and Candace and them. And Giselle said Candace doesn't start stuff, but she does finish it. Candace does not start things. She is allowed to defend herself. This show is based on being able to have a dialogue, no matter how nasty that dialogue gets. We have on Real Housewives of Atlanta where Marlo has said some disgusting things to Kenya Moore in regards to Kenya Moore's mother.
If a person's mother don't want to be bothered with them, you know something wrong with them.
All right. And we didn't see, did Kenya Moore touch her? Kenya was like, okay. And Kenya may have gotten emotional or whatever, what have you, but she never put her hands on Marlo. The things that has been said about Marlo by Nene, about her, you know, being an escort and all of these things. I ain't never seen Marlon put hands on Nene. Nene and Sheree have gotten into it. I ain't never seen them put their hands on one another though. They probably wanted to, but we ain't never seen them do it. Because that is the premise of the show, is cussing each other out and going home. That is the premise of the show. If you can't handle it, if you feel like if somebody get a little bit too rowdy in the mouth, I'm gonna throw hands, that's not the show for you. But Candiace is allowed to defend herself. That lady sat up here and came up to her at this event and started with her. Y'all expect her not to say anything back? Like, that is a disgraceful thought process to me. That y'all think that Candiace is just supposed to allow herself to be abused. Mind you, all of last season she was avoiding this lady. She asked her at Karen's event, did you want to talk to me? She said, no, ma'am.
Candace, I know that you have like some weird feeling about my friend. No. We're going. Why are you trying to dismiss my friend? Like, is this what you did to Jacqueline? Can you just clear the air? She's not gonna have bad intentions with you.
Why is Ashley insisting that I talk to Sesame Street? Because Ashley is a messy hoe. Why on God's green earth would you bring this random Sesame Street character up to the place where I'm gonna be? Go count some letters and some numbers. Go do your ABCs. Go read a book to a child. Do you want to chat with me, Chris? No, ma'am.
And that's another reason why I know Ashley wanted that moment, because she wanted that moment then and Candiace didn't give it to her. You really think Ashley wasn't going to try again? Like, Ashley, I see you. I see you. And your forehead. I see you. I also want to address people saying Candiace keep begging for this friendship. Candiace keep begging for this friendship. Candiace keep begging for this friendship. I don't necessarily think Candiace was begging for friendship. Candiace was wanting for Robyn to just be honest. If Robyn would have been like, I don't want to be friends with you because Giselle doesn't want me to be friends with you, because let's be real, that's really what it was. And that's what I meant to say that when I was speaking on Robyn. That whole text message situation and Robyn going ghost, Giselle told her, you're not friends with her no more. It's either gonna be me or her. And Giselle was gonna have to pick her, because you already business partners with her, and then you light skinned just like Giselle, so you gotta pick your light skinned green eyed sister. I know you're not gonna sit up here and let her call me white adjacent, and she you know she hit her with this. So if you lighter than me, so if I'm white adjacent, what does that make you? That's not somebody who you should be friends with. So yeah, Giselle put a stop to all of that. And because Robyn was not going to come on here and admit, I'm not going to be friends with you because that's going to upset Giselle because of the whole white adjacent thing. Even if she had said it like that, she's not going to do that. She'd rather come on here and try to make it seem like, oh, well, because you're going around on social media and if you think that I could sit up here and be a part of a plot against you and your husband, then we shouldn't be friends. If you notice, Robyn has never said, I've never been a part of a plot. I would never do that. I have too much respect, or had too much respect and love for you and Chris. I would never do that. I would never support that. Robyn has never said that. Every single time it's gotten brought up, I mean, if she feels like I can do that, then we shouldn't be friends. It's a complete deflection, which tells me Robyn was definitely a part of a plot. I would also like to touch on the death threats. I definitely don't think it's fair to try to blame the death threats on Candiace. We have seen season 5 when everything went down between she and Monique. And Candiace was receiving all types of death threats, all types of nasty tweets, just all types of nasty things coming at her from the viewers. Not once did Monique get blamed for that. Not once did Giselle get blamed for that. Nobody. And then even in season 6, when we get to season 6 and we see Giselle saying, you know, had that would have been me, or if me would have popped you in your mouth, you know, it would have. And that caused Candiace to get even more death threats and things of that nature. And nobody blamed Giselle for that. Nobody blamed Giselle for, or Robyn or anybody else or Mia for the treatment that Candiace was receiving. So we're not going to flip that and then put that back on Candiace and make that Candiace's fault. Giselle is getting death threats for her behavior and the things that she has done. The people are tired of it, and they are letting her know. Now, I don't condone death threats for anybody on any show for any reason, but like Candace said, you cannot do these vile things and not expect people to react. And this is how the people have reacted. Lastly here, I have to touch on one of my most favorite moments of the reunion, where they were talking about the whole Candace and Wendy making faces at the children or what have you. And Giselle is doing the whole, I was talking about my children. And then also trying to hold Karen responsible and not speaking up or whatever. And in the middle of Karen trying to be like, I'm not responsible for Wendy and Candace, Candace goes, I deeply regret. And then Karen going, okay, thank you. And then Candace going, that she would weaponize her children, and then finishes her sentence. And the way Karen's face cracked.
I love it. I love it.
When I tell y'all, that was a masterful moment, which also lets me know for sure that what we saw from Candace at this reunion was intentional. I believe prior to new information that we have received from Candace that she was given directives, because that moment right there lets you know how Candace's mind works and how much of a wordsmith she is, and how she just knows, like, Candace is real slick with it. Like, she knew what to say to get the whole room to shut up so that she had the floor. Like, Candace is the girl. Candace is the girl. And that moment was so masterful. I was like, I had to sit up, okay? I had to sit up in my bed, okay? Because I was not feeling good. But when that happened, I had to sit up. And that was my most favorite moment of the reunion. They repeatedly tried to bait her into explosive reactions, and she did not give them what they wanted. And I know people wanted the ra-ta-ta-ta-ta Candace, but it honestly, even without everything that's going on with Candace, it really wasn't necessary, because Candace already knew what it was. And Candace was going to be, no matter how much she laid into them, Candace was still going to be wrong. Whether she apologized or not. And we see what happened at the end of the reunion. She's not going to be accountable. She's not going to. This girl apologized several times. And because Candace did not say, I'm sorry that I made you get death threats, because that's not what happened. But because she didn't say that, that's why they're still mad. I'm sorry. No, I don't think you're a part of a plot. Nope, she didn't say that, because that's not how she feels. She didn't apologize for saying white adjacent, but she apologized that saying white adjacent hurt her. If you notice how Candace did things, Candace didn't necessarily like fully, but she was very strategic in the words in which she chose when she was quote unquote apologizing. But it really didn't matter, because no matter how she handled things, it was going to be what it was. But obviously we now know with the announcement and things that came out about Candace, if you pay close attention, Candace was given a directive to cater to Giselle's feelings. And we'll leave it there. I'm going to go more into that when I, talk about the announcement. But Candace was given a directive. Candace, we already talked about the fight. But as far as for Mia saying, well, she came up to Mia and was like, really, Mia, I'm a 4. I'm a 4, Mia. Really, Mia, I'm a 4. I don't know if I necessarily believe that happened, because we know Mia be lying. And Mia could have just made that up as a way to make Candace look bad. But here's the thing. If she did, why is it, Mia, that you could control yourself with Deborah, but you couldn't control your actions with Wendy? You could control how you responded to Deborah, but you couldn't control how you responded to Wendy? Make it make sense. So you couldn't control how you responded to Wendy, but you wanted Candace to control how she responded to Deborah. Or Deborah, whatever her name is.
No.
The other thing I wanted to comment about that is she didn't come to fight you. She came to fight Candiace. Her priority was Candiace. So she gave you a little yang, but her priority was Candiace. Because Candiace, because of what happened in season 5, Candiace is now seen as an easy target. So her priority was Candiace. Candiace was her intended target. And that's where she went. So we're not going to act like it was just going to be that easily said and done for Candiace to just shut things down, because she tried to do that last year. And the BIT still came back and came for her this year. A whole new year later, nobody talking about her. Nobody talked about Deborah this whole season. For a whole year, nobody was talking about you. And you still brought your raggedy tail around this cast and started this drama when nobody was talking about you because you wanted a moment. That issue was going to happen regardless. So as far as I'm concerned, Candiace is not responsible at all. The responsible parties are Ashley and Deborah, period, full stop. And speaking of full stops, we're going to go ahead and end this video here. We're going to get into Giselle and Andy in production in part 2, and also some other things that I want to talk about in regards to the show as to why I feel the real reason is why, as to why things happen the way they do, and why Giselle is, and Ashley, and Robyn up to a point, and Karen as well, are as protected as they are. But I'm going to get into that in part 2. Please go ahead and hit the like button for part 1 on your way out. If you did not like the video on your way in, go ahead down in the comments and let me know how you all feel about everything we've talked about thus far. Do you agree? Do you disagree with the things that I've said about the ladies so far? Go ahead and subscribe, and I hope to see y'all in part 2. Bye.